Welcome back once again to another Patch Notes show. It's 3.18, and we call this one Rising Flames. There's a good reason for that one as time goes on. As you can see, joining me today is Daniel Fishman alongside Chuck and AJ as well. Once again, bringing us all the lovely commentary of what they think about the patch so far as well. Before we begin, however, take into account that you guys at home can tweet at us today to answer Q&A at the end. Hashtag SMITE patch. Tweet to us, and we will try and get these guys to answer as many of your questions as possible. And for those guys that are just tuning in as well regarding the SPL, well, FDOT is actually ready right now for you guys to announce the group stages of where the SPL teams will go. Take it away, FDOT.
What's good, SMITE fans? It's FDOT here, bringing you all the info about the fall split. We just watched 4 weeks of competition in which all the SPL teams really battled it out and earned points to solidify themselves seeded 1 through 8. We're going to take those seedings and divvy everybody up into different groups. That's what the next 4 weeks are about. 4 separate lands in which all the teams from the SPL come to Atlanta to play their faces off to see who's the best and wind up in the Super Regionals. We've got 4 separate groups that we've divvied up teams based on their performance earlier in the split, and that's how we're going to get it done. Europe will be the first group, and that'll all start the weekend of October 7th through the 9th. The teams that we'll see there will be Bipolar Method, Team Dignitas, Fantastique, and Sanguine. Bipolar Method certainly got off to a great start by being one of the top-end teams and getting themselves locked in a great group. Heading over to North America for the next weekend will be October 14th through the 16th. Luminosity, ALG, Eager, and the Randozos will take their stuff to Atlanta and try to see who winds up on the top of those 4. After that, we'll go back to Europe. October 21st through the 23rd, that'll be the time that we get to see Energy take on Obey Alliance, Cringe Crew, and Cyclone GG. Energy again got themselves in a nice old group thanks to their spectacular performance online during our 4-week placement period. And then the final LAN weekend will be back to North America. That'll be the last weekend, October 28th through the 30th, right before Halloween. And we'll see Soar, Denial, Envy, and Enemy. Don't need any costumes for that one. All 4 teams are going to be extravagant and crazy. Definitely going to want to tune in for that LAN. So as far as we're concerned, all 4 weekends are going to be absolutely insane. Tons of competition and everybody really battling for the spots. The coolest part about it is some of these low-end teams, nobody knows what happens on LAN. It's completely different than online, so you definitely want to tune in. Hi-Res TV is the spot to watch. Esports.smitegame.com is the place to learn. If you want any more information, make sure to follow us on Twitter @SmitePro. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Well, there you go. Group D, definitely the group of death in the SPL right now. D is definitely for death in that one. But enough of the SPL now. It's time to go into the patch notes. And as per usual, we've got Chuck here, as always, to give us a rundown of the skins and what we're going to see on your screens. We're going to start things off with, well, the reason Rising Flames is called Rising Flames, Fire Lord Ne Zha is finally here. A Ne Zha skin, finally!
That's right. So you may notice with the skin, there was a lot of interest in Ne Zha being less androgynous than in his lore.
What?
Oh, Pawn, what are you doing?
Oh,
Pawn?
That is... This is why we can't have nice things. Pawn.
Pawn.
Every single time!
MVP Pawn. MVP Pawn. That's his new name for this week.
Okay, let's see if he's got it right this time.
Pawn.
Apologies for that at home, guys. I don't know what that was. Ne Zha, the new skin is available here. Fire Lord Ne Zha. Now you said, looks a little bit more manly there.
Yep. In fact, our internal name for the skin was Ne Zha Manly.
Okay.
So manly.
He's just a badass now, which is great.
He's just
A little bit older.
He's
action hero.
He hit puberty. That's what we're kind of looking at here, right?
Sure.
No more calling him a her.
Just so gender determinate, you know.
To be fair, when I started casting this game, I was calling it a she. I've got to say that. I thought
No,
it
there's
was
a
a she.
actually,
We've
there's
all
a
done
lot
it.
of people on the team that still can't just
Get it right.
remember that Ne Zha
It
is...
happens.
Well, they'll know now when they see this skin in game. Now, this is going to be able to be purchased in game, correct, AJ?
That is
part
correct.
of the Odyssey.
It is not part of the Odyssey. This
Is it in a
gonna
freaking
be
chest?
no chest.
You
This
just
is
buy it?
Direct
buy
purchase, anytime, all the time, forever. You can
Yep.
be manly Ne Zha.
Yep, if you want your Ne Zha to be manly, you can just make it happen.
Just get him.
And he's got, obviously, abilities with this one as well. Chuck, main focus is on this skin. Obviously, I can see a bit of a color difference this time around
Just
as well.
a little bit of extra manly fire. It's black and orange, just make it a little bit more dramatic. Kind of go with his black and gold and red look.
It would have been funny if he would have given girly colors,
together.
even though he was very manly this one. That could have just kept the
With
conversation
pink
going.
fire, yeah, just...
We
so
got to go
confusing.
all out manly on this one. So check this out.
Oh, he's got voice. Oh, that passive.
Did you notice anything there?
I saw some flowers. It looked like flowers.
Pon, let's see that again.
Show me the flowers, Pon. Oh.
So we actually updated the UI for Ne Zha's ult. This is for all of the Ne Zha skins. This is not just going to apply to this skin. It's going to be all of them.
Oh, really?
And we had some circles that were a little old and are a little harder to see, and we gave that a whole new facelift with this petal theme that is very, reminiscent of all the rest of Ne Zha's abilities.
So when the petals filter full, you click the button, you get the crit.
Yeah, it's very same rules. It's gray circle, was before a gray circle, then it turned blue when you want to hit, and then it turns red when you hit.
Man, look at that passive meter.
The same thing is here now.
Pedaling.
It's going to have a gray petals building up. It turns blue. And you click during the blue window, and you get your hits.
I do love the sash on this one, Chuck. He just looks like he's following him around like a little pet snake or something in the background the whole time. A little more threatening too, I say, this one.
Anytime we can replace aging art like those criticals with something new and showing off our new team, I like it.
Last look at the order as well. Now, obviously you heard, Are You Afraid of Heights? He's got a bit more of a manlier voice this time round as well, as you can tell. And he's also got a voice pack to come with this one too. Can you get that right, Pom? Good.
That was wild. You're awesome. How triggered are you right now?
Yeah,
He's just triggered?
how triggered are you guys?
Is that a taunt?
Are you just gonna stand there? Okay.
Junior
I'll let you go
therapist
first,
Ne
buddy.
Zha.
I'm like my wheels. Too hot to handle. Yo mama is so fat, I have to skate around her for exercise. I like that you try to compete with me. At least you have a goal, if an unrealistic one. Attack left lane!
Burns.
What's his woohoo?
I see what you did there.
Whoopee! Whoopee! Whoopee!
Yeah,
whoopee!
that's the manliest thing about this skin right
yeah,
there.
that's pretty.
That's a child in him still, just
Yeah.
still there hanging
That's
on.
pretty badass.
Whoopee!
Him saying
Who's the
triggered,
man?
chat has now been triggered.
Yo, light
Yes.
up that.
Now
Light up that
everyone
spear
is
for me.
triggered.
Again. Oh, how many people are triggered?
A
Chat
considerable
is so
number.
triggered right now.
So we get that trail added to it.
Oh, that trail's awesome.
Yeah, the
How
effects
difficult
team.
are those effects to do, Chuck? You know, with actually getting that animation stuff ready for it. Is it very difficult?
I mean, it's not that much more difficult than the original skin. It's just kind of a visual reimagining of stuff. It's a little more tricky when you're doing it the first time, especially the trail type stuff, which is very animation dependent, and faster things are kind of harder to deal with, and it's a little complicated.
Well, Pom Pom got his first achievement ever in the game of Smite there, as you saw
I
on
did
your
it.
screen.
Watch this.
Good job, Pom Pom.
It's
Yeah, we watched
was it
something
the
earlier
I
on, I'm
showed
sure.
the wrong thing achievement?
Yeah, that's how you unlock it. It's really exclusive.
That's a Pom Pom only achievement, that one too. Okay, though, next up, after the Ne Zha, we still have more skins to show you. And this one is Monster Trainer Erlang Shen.
This was a completely unique IP
Yeah?
construct that we came up with.
So
Yep,
original.
Yep.
Yep. That's
We wanted to be
so
the
we got-
very newest.
Yep. It's a
Like,
guy
like
who
no one
whatever
ever
it
was.
That's right.
goes to the
That's
Great
right.
Wall of China and captures monsters, particularly this
I think to see,
sporty-looking dog.
see what Twitch says is our real test. To show it is our cause.
Perhaps.
You guys
Perhaps.
are the worst.
And here he is in game right now as
He's-
well.
He's on a mission to
What's-
collect and transform into a variety of exotic animals.
What's the dog called again?
Well, I believe you named him Bobo
I did
during
name
a
because I
patch
didn't know his
show.
name. I was like, I'm just going to call it Bobo.
His name is
It's actually
actually
Bao.
his name. No, his name is Howling Celestial Dog, but he has a translation, right? Do you know how to pronounce the original?
HSD? No,
I
wait,
call him
HCD.
Bao.
Bao. So I was just saying Bao Bao. I just say his name twice with an accent. That's all it
His
was.
name is like Howling Celestial Dog in Chinese, which
the-
sounds like a name.
The
but-
reason I'm bringing up Celestial Dog is the fact that he's got those runes almost on him, like lightning marks on him as well, which I
yeah,
really
that's
do
his
like.
typing.
For this skin, he's named Bruce.
Bruce.
Sure, we'll
Did
call
you
him
just made
Bruce.
that now, Chuck? Did you just make that up? Well, if you want to
No,
play with Bruce,
the internal working name was Stanley,
Oh,
but
really?
it didn't feel good.
He
Stanley.
doesn't feel like a stand.
So there's a turtle. We see some color changes on the turtle.
yeah. He's not got cannons though, so that's good.
That is true.
Original IP, remember?
Also on the.
I love how the turtle always looks so uncomfortable when he's flying through the air, like, oh crap.
No, I'm pretty sure that the turtle is using surf. So
Lack of control.
Erlang Shen used surf.
So yeah, we got some pretty sweet high-tech effects changes for
It almost
Monster
like,
Hunter
looks like
Ne Zha.
the ground is an arena at certain
Yeah.
points of that too. I really like that idea. Very original.
Get a very similar feel for the battle arena.
or a coliseum almost.
Yeah, perhaps.
Maybe another.
That's a good word.
Colosseum's definitely
Now
very,
the-
very mythology based too.
Now, if the Ne Zha is on the other team, he has a red and white color scheme, which is another intentionally unique.
I was about to ask, will we see potentially in the future, Chuck, here, rival Monster Trainer skin come
You
out.
know, I don't know. If we have more guys that have pet dogs and turn into animals,
Scotty has a pet.
Scott-
which is
Scotty!
unique to Erlang Shen and his lore.
Right. Scotty doesn't transform though, but
Although-
That's
I mean-
true. But she does have a monster that is trained.
she does.
Well, if we go quiet for a second here, just use those abilities again, Pop, because he does say different lines here that are very interesting references.
You have slain the
Not
Ymir.
What?
I am the animal's keeper.
Okay.
You're caught.
He's catching people.
I'll
with
take
it.
good care of you.
He's actually capturing enemy players in this.
I won't force you to fight other animals to the death.
Well, the working name, if we do a rival shit for Scotty's dog, would definitely have to be Gary, I think.
Gary.
That you
Yeah.
Bruce and Gary.
I thought we were
Steve, maybe,
referencing things.
Steve.
Okay, voice pack time, boys and girls. Pompon, take it away.
Woohoo! You're a beast. Totally awesome. I'm so punny. You're just unbearable.
Wow,
There shall
that,
be no more endangered animals. I
What?
won't allow you to harm anyone. Did
Pretty
you
sure
hear
there's
about the lion that
Toad.
ate the comedian?
Totally awesome.
His stomach felt funny.
Oh.
Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side, duh. Hate animal jokes? It's ear elephant.
What?
oh,
I'm
God.
done.
That was
thought
actually physically painful.
I thought we cut that one actually. I honestly,
We're actually done.
I'm pretty. Yeah, we need Ne Zha to ask if
Feels bad,
chat is
man.
triggered again because chat is triggered.
Can we
I'm
just,
triggered.
You rock, cancel that. What about I'm the greatest? BG?
You know, but that'll be
I do not
great
hear
when
it
you're
anymore.
just when
Pompon,
you're
why do we not hear
trolling
it,
your
Pompon?
team.
Did you buy the full voice
See,
pack?
that is actually production now. It's
Yeah.
not even me.
You're part of production, you know.
We're
I'm
open.
so punny.
There it
You're
is.
a beast. Cancel that.
And there you have it.
There you have it.
The monster trainer,
Training monsters.
Erlang Shen, punny skin, available in the next patch. Part of the Odyssey as well, I believe.
He is, yes. So in this patch is when the Chinese
And
venue of the Odyssey is opening up. Erlang Shen being the first skin for it, and the next one will be.
Well, why do you announce
and you won't
it,
even
AJ?
have to leave your house and walk around, you know?
There it is.
There it is.
Stay at your desk.
Clockwork Night Ao Kuang.
What?
This will be the
Ao Kuang
second skin.
Oh.
He looks pretty awesome.
Another one.
Yes.
So,
That card's sweet.
yeah, the interesting thing about Ao Kuang skins is that it's Ao Kuang, and that's why we don't have that many of them. This started off...
When you say that, why
yeah.
is it that we don't have too many then? When you say
Because
that?
Ao Kuang turns into a giant dragon.
That's true. So it takes a lot of work to play to the dragon
It's-
too, I
yes,
guess.
Yes.
it's a lot.
Skin the god, skin the dragon. As
So
well.
this kind of started off as a fairly low tier skin, but it just kind of kept going, and we kept adding more things, and
Yeah, there's a
then
schedule
we
for
added
tier
an
2,
entirely
right?
other dragon, and then man, it just we really ended up with some extreme tier 3 Ao Kuang action here.
Already it's looking like a steampunk sort of skin here, you know, with the cogs and things going
Yep.
on with it, and the monocle.
Right,
the
and his
likes.
flying disc.
I have heard the voice pack for this, and I'm very disappointed, but it's okay. We'll get past that later
How
on.
dare you?
I know, I'm very offended, trust me. Because you can guess where it's going then.
His aura looks like it has a false sense of depth. It's really cool.
The turning cogs at the bottom is the most interesting thing for me. What's the
Yeah.
most difficult, outside of probably making the dragon version here, Chuck, what's the most difficult thing about a skin like Ao Kuang?
Ao Kuang, well, okay, the dragon is really the main thing, but Ao Kuang has a lot of very specific particle systems. He's got a lot going on.
You were supposed to save that point, you just spoiling things already. That is amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
the dragon looks
The
good.
Clockwork Dragon came
Yeah,
out
so
really
there's
well.
there's the Clockwork Dragon. We went ahead and used the second dragon and not the original Chinese tube dragon, just because we thought it would work better. Making a clockwork tube was not going to be nearly as cool.
It is amazing.
Yeah, the big fantasy dragon I think works really well for this one.
Yeah, the way it's all
Oh, look at
steampunk
those
focused
wings.
as well is beautiful.
Those are really cool.
Really a steampunk focus.
Yeah,
and
nice pawn.
nice little rotation there to really show off the beauty of the evil Ao
And
Kuang.
look at Pon's artistic use of slow motion.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Oh,
That's what happens when you
Crashing.
get crazy with the dev
We
commands.
Yep.
can't slow-mo dragon.
You know,
I've
just
learned.
when we were complimenting you,
Yeah,
you
well-
crashed the client.
Oh,
Pon?
jeez.
He did
How
pull
triggered
off.
are you right now?
I'm pretty
Oh,
triggered
I'm
right now.
triggered.
That was a series of awesome dev moves, though. He had to go slow-mo, then hit the ultimate, then go up in the air, then do
Yeah.
camera
Free cam.
roam.
I was
Yeah.
really
Like,
proud of
All
myself.
in the same ability. Like,
And then you broke the
That was
That's what I get
impressive.
for trying to be
Yeah.
fancy.
You blew it
Done.
out.
well,
So while he's fixing that, I guess we'll have to come back to one in a little while, Pom Pom.
Yep.
Thanks very much. Although there is other abilities on that skin as well. We only saw the 3 in the ultimate as well. Obviously, the one with the illusion has effects, as does the 2 as well. The dragons around him all have different effects with that as well. And a voice pack, as it is part of the Odyssey. We can actually bring up, though, in the meantime, Ao Kuang, while we were doing this skin, we also updated the mastery card for Ao Kuang as well on his mastery cards.
Yay!
Yeah, so
we know that everybody loves these.
Yeah, as we established last show, we're going to attempt to update the masteries for all the guys in the patches that they're getting skins. And I personally was waiting for Ao Kuang to get updated to play him a lot. So.
That is Chuck's favorite god, I believe.
What's your favorite skin?
It's his main.
Chuck.
I mean, I use Dark Knight because I made all the effects for that. So.
Oh,
I like the color scheme.
Did you make all the effects for the steampunk version?
I did not.
No?
I did not. I don't get to do that now. Yeah.
Shame.
Way to
You
make
get
me
promoted.
sad.
You get
I'm
promoted,
sorry,
and
I'm
that's
sorry.
what
Yeah,
happens.
That's what happens.
Yeah,
Had
we
to do that
took
one
those
for
privileges
yourself,
away from Chuck.
So while we're waiting for Pom Pom as well, I'll just quickly go over the achievements next, because you all love the achievements, and I'm sure these guys here alongside me will be able to help me out with those achievements too, as we look through them, and you can give me some advice on how we do them. Ne Zha will be the first one that we have a little look at here. 2's a crowd, as Ne Zha bounce universe ring toss between 2 enemy gods, hitting at least twice.
Hitting each at least twice.
Sorry.
This is a
You've
fun
made it
one,
fun,
though,
it's fine.
because you know you get in that situation where you get trapped against a Ne Zha, but just with your other teammate, and the rings just go boom, boom, and it just feels like it hits you a million times.
It doesn't affect turrets and things like that to help you out get that, though, right?
I don't
You gotta go
think...
turret god, turret god, turret god.
Well, no, it says 2 gods on the achievement, I believe.
And on top of that, it says, watch this is the other Ne Zha achievement. As Ne Zha stun an enemy using artillery slash, then ult them.
This is just that your classic combo training achievement.
These achievements are so easy to achieve.
Well, some of them are just to train you on the god in a very, strong
true.
combo.
And we're going to see a lot of Ne Zha people coming out as well now, I guess, especially with this new skin coming through. And
Yeah, I think so.
a little bit more manly versions of those as well. Following that up, we also have Kronos with Rewind. As Kronos, use your ultimate while you're below 15% health and return back to full health. So that's kind of a timed version, that really, more than anything else.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's.
That means you got to take a ton of damage.
I got you. When Clockwork Ao Kuang tries to 100 to 0 you, and just before he goes for the execute,
Yes.
you ult and get all the way back to 100%.
Battleground of the clocks.
As long as you get it before the
That's pretty
warm up.
That's actually pretty good. The Hands of Time, as Kronos get a kill with each quadrant in your passive Wheel of Time. That's actually very difficult.
Yeah, that's very
Some of those
interesting. I like
quadrants are
that
easier
one.
than others, for sure.
I don't normally I'm just like, okay, yeah, use Sobek's Pluck.
Is that what it says? I think
mean,
you have to hit a lot of
it's
plucks.
like, use
That's a
Lick in
tough
the Wall.
achievement, actually. It's a lot of plucks.
But that one, Hand of Time, is really rough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even during the
that's-
mana regeneration one, that means you need to get a kill
Exactly.
while it's active.
And the final one for the achievement section here is obviously we're fixing Pom Pom, who's broken, as per usual. Sylvanas, feel my wrath as Sylvanas knock up 3 or more enemy gods with your ultimate.
That badass Angry Grover icon is
The icon
sick,
is
though.
I agree with the
That's a
icon
new
change.
that's a new default
And
picture
the
right
final one on the achievements for you boys and girls at home is Rooted, as Sylvanas root 20 enemy gods in a single game.
Gotta
We'd
start
have-
landing them.
Quite a long game, that.
there. Gotta have lots of skill shots.
Quite a long game. Pom Pom, are you ready?
Yes, so I think I actually have gotten back to the game. I'm going to stay away from the dragon form just because I'm afraid.
It's all right. We got to see the other
Well, we've still
effects
got to
on
see
the
the
voice pack.
abilities yet,
Yeah.
Pom Pom. Hello, Pom Pom.
Hello.
Here he is.
I'm
Okay.
Here he
And
is.
there we go.
So, back to the Clockwork Ao Kuang skin one more time here. We've already seen the dragon, but we've got a few other abilities to show you off as well that Pom Pom generously decided not to show us to begin with.
So here's his basic attacks. Are those bubbles?
Those are like little gears.
Cogs. Are they okay?
Yeah, they're little gears.
And the illusion?
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see.
That's cool.
I believe the cogs also sprout out of the ground. There you go. You see it as it detonates as well. Cogs do come off.
I like the lightning
That's
coming
subtle.
out of the
I like
ground.
it.
And his usual dragons. Kind of difficult to make the dragons any different without making sure you can understand what they
I
are.
think if you
Yeah,
fire,
yeah.
fire them, Pon, take a shoot him at something.
Yeah,
That's
they
definitely a
have-
different color
Yes.
on that projectile. Yeah.
There's a different treatment on that, yes.
And not only like we said, show the ultimate one more time, Pon. Pon's getting all the achievements today.
Yeah, man.
Fail at doing his
Sprees.
job and still gets
Killing
achievements.
spree silver. Playing on a
Doing
fresh
it.
account must be
It's
nice.
especially challenging on AI non-mobile Odins that can be spawned
Oh,
at
you
will.
can't even hit that other Odin. That's
Yeah,
too-
it's sad.
Yeah, I know, right?
Feels bad.
Oh, there we go.
Well, we've also got the voice pack as well, though, Pom Pom.
Yeah, let's
if you're
hear it.
ready with this one.
I am.
I know everyone's commenting about the baby dragons being the same, but they're even the same on the other skin.
You're aces! Brilliant!
That's just the thing.
I'm the dog's bullocks. I'm the dog's bullocks.
Is that I'm the greatest?
I'm going to ask Tina why he's the dog's bollocks.
As I understand it, that's a saying they use across the pond.
Yeah, why do you think I said I love
he's
this
British.
voice Yes, he's British.
Are
and
they
says-
saying that that's the best part of the dog?
Is that what
I don't
people
know
say?
why they had the saying.
I mean, we
but
do.
he's saying it because they have the saying.
But
Does
it's
it
not
mean-
often we say it.
But does it mean I'm great
I mean, yeah, but it could also be used negatively too.
or sarcastically?
Like, he's the dog's bollocks?
Yes. That's bollocks is
it-
another saying that we can also say across the pond too.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
It's a very interesting voice pack, this one, boys and girls. I'll tell you that much.
All right.
The English people right now are like, what the hell?
We got a bit more to go through.
Yep.
Is that an English
really
saying? I'm not
grind my gears.
Nice.
You're a right wazzock.
That's what
I'm
I'll
the
say.
dog's bullocks.
I've never heard Wazzock said in the UK before.
Is that Australian, maybe?
Maybe.
We got mixed
Tina
up.
doesn't know the difference between UK and Australia.
She's our most international designer, too.
How many assistants does it take Tesla to screw in a light bulb? Tesla doesn't need light sockets.
Electricity
Why are
jokes.
so many steampunks fashion icons? They have the best gear.
Okay. I
Yeah.
see.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And there you have it, boys and girls. Oh, the laugh.
Oh, that's a good. Do laugh spam.
Wow.
He's got something wrong with his neck,
there you
though,
go.
when he does that. Do that again.
That's pretty good. He's just cackling.
His poor neck.
Oh,
Should have
he's-
whiplash tomorrow. That's
I'll
for
tell you
sure.
about it. At least it was worth flags to get a good chuckle out of it. That's the Ao Kuang skin for you guys. It's going to be part of the Odyssey, as we mentioned before. And we're going to go into the item balance of the game.
No, we got to
now,
see the
as per
mastery
usual.
skins in game.
The
Yeah,
mastery skins?
yeah.
Oh, do we have those in game?
I want to
think
see
I have
those.
set up.
Pompon, have you got them?
I mean, we got the cards, so
Oh,
we
you
should
did?
have the
Okay.
Oh,
masteries.
Yeah, there we go.
This is Ao
Look
Kuang,
at
I'm
that.
happy.
Nobody told me how the
Let's get
actual
some,
skins. I thought it was just icons that got updated. This,
No,
the
no,
card
no.
art.
This
Oh.
skins.
Nobody wants to see gold and
Look.
legendary.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Listen to
There's
Chuck.
gold.
Legendary is badass.
Listen
Yeah.
to Chuck. He's in charge
I
of
have
the
to
art.
go through all of them.
Yeah, we have to see the gold so we can appreciate the legendary.
Yeah, exactly.
So he
Nice.
does no more solid golden face
Very
for
regal.
Ao Kuang. Although his face is already kind of gold.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
It's fleshy in,
Yeah.
in
It's
color.
dragon flesh.
Now, what I want to see is the diamond, because that was my least favorite of the original Ao Kuang master.
You are Diamond Ao Kuang, right, Chuck?
Yes, I am.
So you could be rocking this one now.
Yes.
I like the tint on his
It
head.
kind of
yeah.
matches his hair.
I want to see the dragon. I want to see the dragon.
Oh, that's a good
Oh.
question. That's a good point.
Let's see.
Are
Oh,
the
wait,
dragons
the
other
dragons, Chuck?
colors on the other skins or just diamond?
Don't
Will
get...
Pawn crash
On
again?
all of them.
Oh, no.
I will try not to crash.
Please don't crash, Pom Pom.
You'll be fine.
Just don't do slow-mo.
Yeah, don't do slow-mo.
It's
I
probably
I actually
slow-mo.
think it's camera roam.
That maybe that
In
too.
the
Don't
air.
do any of those.
Maybe it's slow. Chat doesn't look at them. They're just now they've gone on a tear.
What's wrong
What
with
are
chat?
they?
Z-
They're
Z-
ZZing about? What are they
Oh,
ZZing about?
God, I don't
Mastery
wanna-
skins, I guess.
Mighty sword!
All they do is ask us for more mastery skins, though. Oh, there's a
Yeah,
diamond
there it is.
dragon. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
That looks
All
pretty
right.
good.
That doesn't
Nice.
look very
Cool.
All
Okay,
right, well, I
thank you,
guess we're
Pom.
ready to move on then.
good. Okay, right.
Did
What
it.
gave you that clue there?
Thank you so much for joining me,
What
gentlemen.
is this for?
These three will be back at the end of the show to talk through any questions you guys have. You can tweet at us, #SmitePatch, all one word. We'll read through your questions and give you as many answers as we can at the end of the show. But for now, it's time for me and Pon to get back to what we usually do, and that's do terrible things with the game.
Well, I'm actually a little sad because I missed out
Insult
on
each other?
achievements. That's what I'm used to looking forward to.
I'm sorry, Pon, but if you don't make mistakes, you get to do the achievements with me, you know? One day you'll get on the set, but you can't even do a simple thing that make the computer work. So, into game we go, well, into the patch we go here, and items are here right now. And we're going to start things off straight away, Pon, with Hydra's Lament.
Yeah.
Hydra's Lament, this patch, is going to have the first buff, and it's going to be increases MP5 by 2.5 per 10% of your missing maximum mana. Not only that, it's also going to get a physical power buff from 30 to 40. What's the reason, Pom?
Yeah, so Hydra's Lament was kind of an item that was really, really situational. You had to be a character who could make use of the cooldown reduction, who weaved basic attacks in between every single ability cast, and then you had to have some form of augment to really make that bonus attack power worth it. Loki had it with backstab, but even he was questionable with it, and so it was just simply too niche for what it did. So we're kind of giving it a new identity while allowing that niche to be kind of a nice bonus if you can make use of it.
Okay, would you see this maybe replacing some of the gods picking up Transcendence at all?
It'll be interesting because Transcendence gives way more power and it gives way more base mana. And so way more base mana just means that you can cast more, where this one is you kind of have to pace it out a little bit over a long period you can cast more.
Okay.
It's also got cooldown reduction, so it's a little bit different in where you'll use it. If you're looking for just a whole bunch of power because you have really good scaling, it's going to be what you're going to want to get. If you're looking for some cooldown reduction and mana regeneration and you can make use of this passive, you probably want to pick this up.
Well, Loki mains might be grinning a little bit there. However, a lot of people that have been very upset just lately are going to get the best news ever today. We're going to do reinforced greaves and reinforced shoes next. Now, first of all, Pom Pom, we buffed them last patch. And what are we doing this patch?
So we're nerfing them. We're not buffing them again.
I am shocked.
Shocked.
Are you shocked?
Shocked.
Thought you would be. Does the community. What's the reason for the nerfs and what's the aim of these nerfs?
So when we initially buffed it, it was because we kind of wanted the tank boots to become used. They were largely ignored. People hadn't used them in months, if not ever. And that's just because there was a lot better options there. And the better options were, I want more gold regeneration than I want tankiness. And we wanted an option for the players who want to play tanky to have that choice. And so we buffed it to give it a little bit more protections, and that made it too much because base 150 health on assassins and squishy mages and warriors is really good, and it makes the protections really good. Whereas if it didn't have any health or had lower health, the protections wouldn't be nearly as good. And so we're taking some of the health away, and we're also adjusting how the passive works to make it so that really only characters who are base tanky already are going to really be able to make use of these.
Well, the first thing to mention is that the reinforced greaves will have the first change, the only individual change of these two bits, where the power of the reinforced greaves, the physical version here, is going to drop from 15 to 10. What's the reason for that, first of all, before I go through the rest?
We want to make it match the lowest possibility that it could be, because these are tank boots. These aren't meant to be offensive. And so that just matches the tier 2 power, which is the 10.
Now, both sets of these boots, then reinforced greaves and reinforced shoes, are going to have the following changes done to them. Reduce the health from 150 to 75. That's a 50% decrease. On top of that, reduce the crowd control reduction from 30% to 20%. 10% decrease. And finally, the passive. The protections reduced from 5 per stack to 3 per stack, and increase the maximum amount of stacks from 5 to 6. So that's 18 for each side of protections,
Yes, that's 18.
It takes more stacks as well to get there.
Yeah, so the big thing there is less health means it's going to be less valuable on characters who are squishy kind of to begin with. So you kind of need to be tanky to make use of these. And then you also have to get hit more to actually get the full benefit, and the full benefit is less than it was before. So you're not going to be able to take 2 hits and have 10 protections. You're only going to be at 6, and you're also going to have 75 less health to make use of it.
I wonder if we'll have any more boot icons on Twitter this week.
And I liked that. That was fun.
I know you did.
We got in on it.
The thing is, though, if we do that regularly, Pom Pom, everybody's going to be changing something every single patch to make sure they get it in the patch. Void Shield up next for the nerf bat again. It's all nerfs this week, boys, at least for a little while. Void Shield is going to have its cost increased by 100 gold, making it 2,700 total. And not only that, the reduced physical protections from 50 to 40.
Yes. So we actually recently buffed it so that it had extra penetration on the aura. And that made it a very valuable option for people who want to be offensive, because 20 pen is really good, especially when you can share that to your entire team. It also had power and it had protection, so you could kind of get into a fight, stay alive for a really long time, and provide this huge DPS increase for your team. We like that it's a item that can give you a huge DPS increase, but the survivability was too much, so we're toning that down. And we're also making it a little bit more expensive, so you have to commit a little bit more to this kind of build.
But that's not the only thing that's getting nerfed in terms of physical defense here as well. We're going to have Witchblade also getting changed this patch. No cost adjustment on this, but it is going to drop a little bit in the physical protection from 60 to 50. We just buffed that, Pom Pom.
Yeah, and so the big thing there is it's very powerful aura effect, kind of like Void Shield, where this aura effect is very potent at stopping certain types of damage. And at 40 protections, it wasn't giving you enough protections because, like, that's not all the physical damage you're going to face in an entire game. So we brought it to 60. That was a little bit too much, so now we're bringing it down to 50 so that you can still be killed with this item, but it's very still good at countering what it's supposed to counter, which is the basic attack builds.
Okay, so that's the changes to all the items this patch, and we'll move on towards the god palettes now. I think the items so far, pretty much things that people have asked for so far. Onto the gods we go. Papa, before we even get into the gods here, which one is your favorite? Just say the first letter of the name. Your favorite change.
My favorite change?
Favorite change.
It's actually probably C.
Oh, really?
C. I think it's interesting.
Okay. Mine's R.
R?
I'll say R. For sure. Let's go in then. We're going to start off with A, hopefully, because we should be in order. Agni is the first one to get a change. Now, this one, a little bit different here, Pom Pom. It's a small change, but we're actually going to show it in game as well, because what it is Flame Wave. We're going to increase the persist time of Flame Wave from 0.5 seconds to a whole 1 second. Pom Pom, what does that mean? and why do we need to show it in game?
Yeah, so the players who don't know this, most players do, but players who don't know this, you can actually combo Flame Wave and Noxious Fumes in a certain way.
Yep.
You 2-1. So if you throw that out and then you throw Gas Cloud out, you can actually detonate that stun with the Flame Wave that you threw out first. And that's really good at stunning people very quickly. But if your latency was a little bit high, even if it wasn't even high, if it was like 50, it was inconsistent, unreliable, and it actually made a difference that when players were at LAN, they had a noticeable different experience with Agni than they did playing at home, and that's not something we want.
Okay.
So we increased Flame Wave. So Flame Wave, as you can see, you actually probably won't be able to see it, but essentially it'll persist for a little bit longer than it did.
Yeah.
So that means that you have an extra 0.5 seconds to actually use Noxious Fumes and get that effect.
Now hold up, quick question for you here as well, right? That doesn't mean you can be hit twice by it though, because it persists, right? Or
Nope.
3
If you got
times or
hit
4?
by it, you're going to get hit by it once. You
Okay.
can't walk in and out. You can't do the shake and bake.
Cool.
The other thing is it lasts a little bit longer. So that means if you walk into that field while it's out, there's a slightly longer period where you can get hit by it.
Gotcha.
But that shouldn't have too much of an impact.
On top of that as well. Anything to add there, AJ? I thought you were going to say something. Oh, he's back. AJ's mic's not. No, I'm sorry.
Rip.
He said
Oh
the
yeah, it
travel
also
time as well.
yeah,
Sorry,
it also
that's what I
travels
said.
the same distance. Nothing's changed with the feel of the ability. It just leaves a fire field a little bit longer so that you can make use of it and actually use Noxious Fumes without having to be on super low latency.
Cool. Well, we'll see how that one works out for Agni. This patch in a little bit more of a buff, because obviously the 2-1 combo was there, but it was not that easy to confirm every single time. And even if you did, you know, you were only able to really get the stun, not the damage as well. Now, essentially both of them. Next up is C, where Pompon said his favorite change was.
Yes, this is the
Chiron.
scene that I was talking
No,
about.
it was. Don't lie. Chiron fixed a rare issue where Chiron would revive even if he did not get a kill during his ultimate. So just a quick bug fix there on Chiron. An important bug fix as well, but it has been fixed nonetheless. And then moving on to the God of Love is up next.
Yep.
And this is the one that a few people have been talking about already. And there's a lot of things to go over with Cupid here. So what we'll do is we'll actually take you into game and go you through every single one of the abilities, just so you guys at home can see exactly what's going on with Cupid. First of all, the passive Love Struck is still staying the same, Pompon, in some ways.
Yeah, it is. So let me do this really quick.
Come on, Pon. Come on, Pon.
Because I have to actually level up something to show the effect of it, so I had to do that first.
So for you guys at home, the Love Struck at the moment on the left-hand side, it's still going to take 8 of those hearts to be able to activate that for a bit additional effects, but the effects are different this time around.
Yeah, so Love Struck has been just kind of accommodated and the tooltip has been updated, but it basically functions the same way. You auto-attack, you get hearts, and then you can spend hearts to get additional effects.
Gotcha. Now, as he's killing that bot and getting his hearts up, the first thing we'll mention is now Heart Bomb. These are the changes for it. We'll go back to them in the patch as well, but we've increased the cooldown of Heart Bomb from 10 seconds to 12 seconds, but we have also increased the radius of the Heart Bomb's explosion area from 20 to 30. That's a big area. And not only that, you also saw the effects there as well that show where it's going to detonate around.
Yeah, so the big thing there is it basically functions the same, it has a slightly longer cooldown, but that's because it now hits in a larger area. And the important thing to note there with that is that it will now, if you hit the right minion, you can actually hit the full wave with it now.
Cool. So it's actually increasing his wave clear as well. And in team fights, it comes out much larger area with that, especially if it's a stun bomb as well, not just damage, but make sure you get the passive on. You still get the usual stun on that ability. Next up is Share the Love, which is his hearts, as we all know. But the big thing about this is it no longer consumes your passive.
Yep, it does it. It interacts with your passive as much as I think it gives you healing increase, but 2% per. But it now no longer actually takes any stacks to use.
So to be clear, if you're on your 8 stacks, you will get a much better heal from this, but you won't consume that passive.
Yeah, and the big thing there was a lot of players, like, they want to use this ability to heal up and to sustain themselves, but losing out on the stun on your 1 or your stun on your ultimate was a huge loss. So we have pulled it.
And the next thing on the list for Cupid this week is going to be Flutter as well. It no longer provides attack speed when you cast Pom-Pom. However, it does provide passive attack speed now, going from 4 up to 20% of max rank, as well as the cooldown of Flutter has changed as well. It used to be 19 to 15, it's now 16 to 12, but it doesn't consume your passive as usual.
Yep, so you can see there when I leveled it up per rank, I went from 1.29 to I think 1.48.
Yep.
So that is a 20% increase in what it does.
Yeah, for you guys at home, 20% of max rank increase of attack speed, and you don't have to pop it or use it to get that attack speed increase there whatsoever.
Yep, if you use it, I still have the same attack speed. When it falls off, I will still have the same attack speed. It's entirely passive now. It's a little bit lower than it was, but you no longer have to actually use your escape to trigger it,
Yeah.
which is pretty good. As well as There's one just link. Yeah, the cooldown also went down on this so that you can actually use it more in the mid and late game.
That's
so that
correct,
when you
yeah.
actually have ranked it up, it will provide you with a more reliable escape.
Just reminding the cooldown on the floor again. It used to be 19 seconds at lowest rank, up to 15 seconds at max rank. It's now 16 seconds in the early game and goes all the way down to 12 seconds in the later stages. So it functions a little bit more like all the other hunters in terms of it's there for escapability or gap close more than an attack speed buff as well. And then finally, Fields of Love did get a bit of a change here. We've changed, first of all, how this ability functions with Love Struck, and the Fields of Love now mesmerize enemies for 1.5 seconds when activated with less than 8 hearts. But when there is 8 hearts, it's now a mesmerize for 3 seconds.
Yeah, so the big thing here is we removed the stun component because the stun stacking was a little bit awkward and weird. You were getting a 1 second stun from the one, you had a stun and a mes effect on the ultimate, and so we've cleaned it up and we gave it a much more powerful mesmerize effect when you have it at full stacks. So you can see here if I ult these Odin bots with 7.
Yeah, that was 7.
For the damage.
Small one.
And then if I go for the full stack one, which I need to spawn new Odins because I think they will have DR on them now. If I hit this one.
Yay!
Much longer, Mez.
Much longer. And if you guys at home don't know what that is, that's Kumbhakana at max rank. Kumbhakana Yawn is that long of a mesmerize as well.
So basically, he's getting a lot of changes with making the usage of Love Struck a little bit better, so that you can use the stacks when you want. The one's going to be more powerful wave cooler on a longer cooldown. The dash no longer is tied to your attack speed stem, so you can actually use your attack speed kind of just all the time instead of having to use your escape to use it. And just mainly cleaned up kind of how he plays and how he uses his heart so that it's a little bit more intuitive, it makes a little bit more sense, and it helps him out at various stages of the game.
Gotcha. Just wanted to scroll up at the bottom of the screen there, production as well, just so they can reread through this in their own, see it on the screen themselves. So go straight back to the top, Love Struck. Overall here, tooltip has been adjusted to accommodate the changes listed below. Heart Bomb, next up, increased cooldown from 10 seconds to 12 seconds. However, the increased radius of the Heart Bomb's explosion area from 20 to 30, and it's clearer to see with the new effects. Share the Love that no longer consumes your Love Struck hearts. At the same time as Flutter no longer gives you attack speed, it gives you passive attack speed. The scales up, and also the cooldown has been lowered on that, as you can see. And then finally, Fields of Love is now only a 1.5 second mesmerize, although if you have your Love Struck passive, it'll be a 3 second mesmerize as well. Awesome.
Cool stuff.
After that, there's still more gods to come, and then I'm going to start things off next with Fafnir on the list. It's a bit of just a bug fix here with him. Fixed Griffin Dwarf Fafnir in Griffin form, not having his laugh audio.
Yeah, that's a true shame. When you're that giant thing, you want to be able to laugh, and he couldn't laugh.
I know some of the pro players will be very happy about that, sadly enough. Next up is a mid lane god that's not seen as much play as she used to, Isis. Well, Isis Dispatch, what's the main aim of this, Pom Pom?
So the big thing is she was very dominant previously. She had a lot going for her. Her Wing Gust was clearing the wave pretty much instantly, especially when there was Purple Pot. Purple Pot largely enabled her to dominate the early game pretty handedly. No one could really compete with her too much. And so we actually toned down her Wing Gust back then. And then we also later on hit Purple Pots, and I can only get at level 10.
That's true.
So the problem that was causing her to be too strong that we nerfed her for has now been fixed, so we're reverting the previous nerf to bring her kind of back into the scene.
Of the previous nerf is 30% from Wingust is now going to 40% of scaling on that ability as well. So we should see a bit more play out of her again, a little bit more dominant back in the early game like she used to be.
Yeah, it's also important to note that because that ability has 4 gusts, that's a 40% increase overall. So
cool. Good opportunity there for Isis. And next up, another iGod, Izanami. Next up now, Izanami. What's the main aim with Izanami here?
So Izanami has been underperforming a little bit from where you'd want her to be. She is a character who is very difficult. She has the auto attacks that you have to hit twice to actually get the full effect. She's very position oriented. Her shots are very much skill shot oriented. They're kind of harder to land. And so we're doing a few adjustments here to help her box a little bit more efficiently, kind of scale a little bit more efficiently, and then we're also fixing kind of a weird scenario that was happening. So we can go into those changes and I can talk about them kind of individually.
General, Izanami's basic attacks now deal 75% damage going out and 25% damage coming back towards her. It used to be 50-50, so 75, 25, so it's easy to get more of that damage off. And the base attack speed has also increased from 0.85 to 0.95. That's just that, but also we have Fade Away as well. Izanami is now invisible to minions when she begins channeling Fade Away. Explain that one, Pom Pom.
So the Fade Away one is if you would damage someone, archers are hitting you. And then if you cast Fade Away and you leap, archers are still trying to hit you. And so if they fired an arrow before you left but before it connected, you would be stealthed, and then you get hit by a stray arrow and you'd be immediately unstealthed.
Gotcha.
So we fixed that essentially, and it kind of adds. We fixed it, and it also adds an interesting option for her. She can kind of go in and fight into a minion wave, and then leave kind of immediately.
Okay.
So she has a little bit of option there too, but this is mainly to get around a kind of weird interaction with her stealth and range minions.
Does she still take the damage from those minions though?
No, she drops dagger completely. She's
Okay.
invisible to them.
Interesting. Okay, Izanami, little buffs there. We'll see how that works out for her. A little bit more front-ended on those basic attacks. Next up is a god that a lot of people have asked for changes, and we just touched this god Pompon.
Yeah. So Nemesis.
Yeah, it's Nemesis.
Yes, Nemesis. So the big thing here, kind of before we go into this change, is she was a character that we buffed a lot. She was kind of struggling for a long time. And then we kept buffing, and then we also made a few other changes that were indirect buffs to her, which was the removal of red potion, so that she, the characters who made use of it were kind of outboxing her, and when they were kind of brought on a more even level, she took off. As well as we added Wrath, which is a stun, and that gave her an extra additional utility tool and clear, so she could also keep up with people a little bit better. And those two changes combined with the previous buff kind of put her into this new position of being really dominant in the meta. We kind of looked at where her strengths were, and that was mostly on the early game. She's kind of this late game hyper tank shredder, and she can kind of be a shot caller in the late game. But in the early game, she was doing that too effectively as well. And so the previous nerf was to her cooldown. Especially in the early game, it was a lot longer. We're doing a similar adjustment here towards her ultimate.
Well, let's have a look at the ultimate. Divine Judgment is the only thing getting changed this patch. And it's going to be a damage reduced from 30 scaling to 50% of the current target's health is now 20% to 40% of target's current health. Not only that, we're also going to change the slow and movement speed. It's been decreased from 25% at all ranks, and it's now going to be 15 scaling to 25% in the late game. So
yes,
early game nerf, late game still going to be useful.
Yeah, so the big thing is we toned down the damage overall because it was providing a lot of shred, especially on full health targets. It also just shreds protection, so that's kind of another form of damage on the target. As well as the slow in the early game was essentially a 50 movement speed swing. It was 50% movement speed swing because you took 25 away and you got 25%. So now we're closing that gap in the early game, so it's now it's only a 30% swing. So this should tone down our early ganks a little bit more. They're still going to be effective. She's still going to be potent, but this should help players kind of react to her ganks a little bit more effectively in the early game.
Awesome. We'll see if that's enough for Nemesis to be brought back to where people wanted to be. Ne Zha is the next one up, and we saw this a little bit earlier on, so we don't have to go over it too much, but it's the updated visual presentation of the critical circles on the ultimate.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I'm really happy with those.
Those petals are on every single one of those gods of Ne Zha's skin.
Yep, they are.
Awesome. Next up is the one I was looking forward to. Raijin.
Yeah, Raijin.
What's happening to Raijin, Pompon?
Oh, this is the R. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, did you not realize?
I totally forgot, and so I thought thinking you were talking about the next one. Like, why is that super hyped to you?
No. This is hyped.
Yeah, so Raijin is very good in the early game at bowling, and he has very good burst on his Raijin Thunder Crash combo.
Yep.
And so we're directly hitting the Raijin Thunder Crash combo.
And here is the changes. Raiju reduced the damage from 80 to 260, is now going to be 60 to 220. So it's about a 40 at late game, 20 early game change there, as well as increase the magical power scaling from 70 to 85%.
Oh, that has been changed. That actually isn't happening.
That's not happening? So it's still
That is
the same?
not happening.
Okay. Just so I know. So that bit's not on there. I'm just reading the patch notes down.
Yes.
Yes, it's just going to be a overall damage reduction there. No scaling changes at all. And Thunder Crash as well. This one is the one with the scaling. Sorry, idiot, just like Pompon. Not as bad as Pompon, though, because he makes more mistakes than me. It's going to be reduced scaling on the Thunder damage from Thunder Crash from 40% to 20%.
Yes, so overall, Thunder Crash is getting a damage reduction in how it scales into the late game, as well as the Raiju is going to just be dealing less damage overall through all stages of the game.
Gotcha.
And the big thing there is, especially when he's building like the red pot, or not red potion, red buff in the early game, he has like maybe pen boots or cooldown boots on. His combo is going to be dealing significantly less.
Yeah, a bit less of a tone down on Raijin. And then next up, we've still got two more gods to go, but the next one is going to be Ratatoskr. And this is more of a bug fix than anything. Ratatoskr, through the Cosmos, will now go the proper distance when cancelling this ability at maximum range. We've also fixed the radius being listed incorrectly on the tooltip as well.
Yep.
Jolly good.
We fixed things about it.
And the final god to be balanced this patch, what do you think it is, Palm?
Well, it is definitely after R.
Yeah,
I can confirm that.
Great start.
It's probably a guardian of some form. Maybe an earthly form.
It is an earthly guardian.
But it's not pure rock.
Well, it's Terra.
It's Terra.
It's Terra. First thing I'll say is the passive on this god had a bit of a fix this patch. We fixed this where the bonus damage was being calculated as true damage. Naughty. She's not supposed to do damage. She does enough as it is.
Yeah, not true damage.
But we're also going to be changing Crushing Earth. It used to have a slow field. Well, it has a slow field on it at the moment between the standing stones. We're actually just going to remove that pom-pom.
Yeah, so this kind of goes with her kind of the theme of the nerfs that we're going for.
Yep.
She brings a lot of utility to her team. She has the ultimate, which is global and heals and the cooldown reduction and everything. She also has a lot of lane pressure. She can set up a lot of kills really easily. If you get caught in that wall crush on her, and then she can dash into a monolith and root you, you're going to be seriously hurt for a very long time.
Yep.
And when we kind of reduced the firing time on it so people could close out a little bit sooner, we still have the slow field on it, and the slow field made it a little bit too free for people to get hit. So removing that slow field so people have a little bit more opportunity to get out of it.
Okay.
And then the other changes coming up, we'll also talk a little bit about.
And here we go. The next one up is going to be the monolith. The 3 ability, root duration decreased from 1.5 seconds to only 1 second this time around. Main reason for that, just...
again, it's that combo. It's the
change?
if you're in the laning phase and you get wall crushed into the monolith, that's a lot of damage, it's a lot of control on you. We're just kind of toning that back down a little bit so that it's not so much of a kind of free kill or not so much free pressure in the lane.
And finally, the last thing on Terra that's also going to get changed this patch, a cooldown increase from, on the ultimate of Terra's Blessing, a cooldown increase from 90 seconds. It now goes to 110 starting and scales down to 90 seconds as you level this ability up. So late game is still going to be as effective as it was.
Yeah, so it's just going to take a little bit longer in the early game. At the late game stages, it's going to be as useful as it is. Her ability to provide global presence to her team, especially in the early game, was just a little bit too much, and so we're turning that back down. So the whole nerfs overall is passive is a fix. We reduce some of her lane control, and we reduce some of her global control. So she's not going to be as powerful in the early game at setting up kills. She'll still be able to contribute to her team really effectively, but it's just toned down.
Well, there you have it. That's all the patch notes there with the items and balance changes of the gods as well. But we still got time for Q&A at the end, and we may be able to get 1 or 2 questions in here as well. Hashtag SMITE patch if you want to send your questions in. We'll try and get to them this week as well. And we're back, obviously, once again with Fishman, Chuck, and AJ on the set just to go through those questions. Guys, favorite thing about the patch, first of all, while we're waiting for these questions to come through. Fishman?
I like the changes to Cupid. He's kind of needed some love.
Yeah.
So we gave him some love. So
I like that. That was a cheeky little pun, that. Cheeky little pun.
See
Chuck,
what I
what
did
about
there?
you?
I'm excited about all the Ao Kuang content. I'll be getting a lot of use out of that.
You're just an artist at heart, are you? Anything to do with art, and you're like, I like it.
I know I like Ao Kuang.
Yeah.
Just like Ao Kuang.
It's his main. It's his main.
I'm finally AJ.
I mean, I got to go with Cupid too.
Yep.
Like, this is one that we've been kicking around for a really long time. We're just like really glad that we got it all in this patch.
We'll see how he works out in the main patch. Let's go into the questions then, boys and girls, and see what you guys at home asked him this week.
Oh,
How
yeah.
fired is Pom Pom?
Oh.
Aww.
He's not fired. We
Like-
love him too much.
a third fired at max.
We need him for a lot of
Yeah.
things, so he gets to
Everyone
make some
likes my goofy
mistakes.
charm.
You know,
He's so necessary to our operation here. I do
problem-
not know what we would do without
The
him.
problem with Pom
He's the
Pom,
lovable screw up.
the problem with Pom Pom is he's just not good in a live environment. That's what we found with him.
Hey!
Behind the scenes is fantastic, but the moment you put him near a camera or having to do something live, he's awful.
Look, when was the last time I got the gods in the wrong order?
Last week.
No, I didn't get them.
But before that.
Yeah. Before that.
You
I mean,
actually
he's got pants on and everything.
crashed
Yeah,
the game.
I came into work with pants on, with shoes and socks
Smite
on,
t-shirt.
Put some one up on you, Hindu.
t-shirt. Like, I'm fully dressed and ready to go.
Yes.
At least you got your beard back anyway. Jeez, that was
So
weird.
there's a lot of,
It only took me like a week to get it back. It's pretty good.
request spam
We'll
for
get
the
there.
C word.
We'll get there.
As usual. Next question on the screen. Out of the skins, out for the Odyssey right now. The skins out so far, I should say, including Meltdown Soul. Which is your favorite? Fishman, we'll start with you
It's
again.
a small pool. It's just Amaterasu Susanoo, Erlang Shen,
Erlang Shen.
I mean, I guess you could
do
include
like-
these two.
Ao Kuang Soul.
I
Yes.
do like that Erlang Shen. He's pretty.
The Erlang Shen.
Yeah. I mean,
Like Chuck and the team worked really hard to come up with something new and original, and I feel like they hit
yeah,
the mark.
Yeah.
I do think
That's
it is
good.
the very
100%
best.
there.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of
the
brainstorming.
best there ever was.
Yeah,
Like
a
no one ever
wide
was, yeah.
variety of just conceptualizations.
mhm.
So we're just going to go universally Erlang Shen on that one.
Well, that's Fishman's favorite. You
What
want
about
to
you,
go?
Chuck?
You want yours, Chuck? Out of
Ao
all
Kuang?
last patch too. Odyssey
Ao
skin.
Kuang by chance?
Ooh, again.
You don't know?
Amaterasu Susanoo, Erlang Shen, Ao Kuang
I have been
Soul.
getting a lot of use out of the Amaterasu skin, which I have been enjoying. So.
Okay.
It's a good one. Those
I'm
happy
going with
suns are.
But like I said, I'm looking forward to Ao Kuang.
Happy, Georgia. And finally, AJ,
My
yourself?
favorite's the Susanoo, man. He looks like such a badass. That
Yeah,
I agree.
that mech
That's in-
Susanoo.
I see that
He's
in so many games.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do
so
say that
awesome.
in a lot of games as well. Next question, please. What else have we got? Do enemies or allies see the heart bomb targeter? AJ?
Yeah, everybody sees them. They are just different colors. So on the ally team of Cupid, they're white, friendlier color. On the enemy team, they're red, pink.
So really easy for you guys at
But-
home to see.
Yeah.
Don't worry too much about that one. Next question on top of that too. I mean, that was really simple.
Yep.
What was decided down the line to result to these Cupid changes?
So this is one, Cupid, the community's really been asking about Cupid buffs for a really long time, and we agreed with him. We wanted to do something to him to spice him back up and bring him back in. And as we were looking at his abilities, we were like, he kind of already does what we want him to do, which is he's got good utility and zoning for a hunter, which is kind of rare. Not a lot of hunters have that. And we're like, Cupid, he's got lovable theme to him. He should be able to affect the team fight in more ways than just shooting damage. So we took his abilities that do that and just made those parts stronger. So the Heart Bomb, good zoning ability, just made it bigger. The hearts, we wanted to encourage him to heal his teammates all the time, but previously you were de-incentivized. You would be, if you want to use your hearts, then you reset your stacks, you waste. So we just got rid of that whole part. You just can charge up your hearts and heal your teammates. Flutter, and you no longer have to waste your dash to get your stim. You just,
that was a big one.
Just put some points into it. Yeah, that was one that we actually kicked around a lot of different ways to give him his attack speed.
I think it came out really well as well.
And that one worked out really well.
I did see someone just asking in chat as well. I just want to confirm this with you guys as well. Fields of Love still cripples, correct?
Fields of Love still slows, still cripples. The only
cripples.
difference is we removed that weird stun plus mez at the same time,
But
and it's
DRs
just
itself
mez,
as well, so
mez, longer mez now. So no more weird math, no more like you can only shoot him once and then you need to wait. It's just a mez all the time. So you can actually play around it now. You can avoid attacking a certain target much more easily than you could before.
Perfect. These are pretty good questions this week, guys. I'm pretty impressed. Normally, it's just spam the same thing in chat. Next question. How did you guys feel about tank boots initially, and were you surprised about how powerful they really were?
Now, this one's funny because when we showed tank boots last patch, most of Twitch chat said, whatever, tank's still going to buy Traveler shoes.
Still did.
That's true.
Lots of them said that. Now, once SPL came around, they changed their minds.
And even over the course of SPL, like the first, we're like, oh yeah, this is exactly what we want. We got our tankier characters buying the new defense boots. We hit it, boys. And then everybody starts buying them. It's
and
like
the junglers,
so
solo laners.
We were surprised about how powerful they actually became. And that's why you see the significant changes this patch.
That's why you got nerfs, boys.
Yep.
You're all happy now.
We were a little surprised.
Can you explain some of the process of playtesting and how through it you balance the game, at least the basics?
Sure.
Interesting.
I'd say the basic, simplest form is that we play the game every day. We play at me and Fish and a lot of QA and support, and sometimes we get some artists. We play the game every day at the end of the day with the newest stuff that we're still working on.
Right.
Just to make sure we like it, make sure it works, make sure it's not frustrating, make sure we don't think it's too strong, too weak. We really do that. As far as balance goes, we've had this question before. We do a lot of balance based on feedback, pro feedback, community feedback, and some statistics, but mostly feedback.
Yeah, a lot of times after the playtest, we'll have kind of a sit down and talk about the new things we'd introduced, how well different parts of them worked, and if parts of them could be strengthened or should be removed entirely. And then from that, then we'll kick it to the balance team, and they'll make the final iterations before we go.
To add to that, then, how do you actually balance out with the fact you've got pros on one end, you've got the average player on the other, and obviously pros are the extreme version of players to an extent, but then you've got the average player as well, and you have to balance the game around both. Is there a focal point, or is it mainly you have to just find the right sort of edge?
It's tough. We want to make sure we make pros and casual players happy. We really just look for ones that, of course, if they both agree on something, that's great, because then we just know to make that change. We know to strengthen or nerf this character. But a lot of times they disagree. We try to, find something in between or make subtle changes. But a lot of the community doesn't necessarily realize how a small change can make a very big impact.
Yeah, so we kind of have to keep our eye on 3 different data points. Like, all right, what is the community asking for? What are the pros asking for? And then what are our stats indicating? We have to look at all 3 of those before we make a change to make sure it's going to do well for
Cabrakan passive.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was interesting,
community clamored for Cabrakan passive forever. We gave it to him. That 5% damage mitigation made him go
huge.
He jumped about 50 gods in all of his stats as far as
top.
Bring him down
he
again.
skyrocketed, and people were calling that a quality of life change, and it actually made him 10 times better.
Thanks for that question. Ansky is a pretty good one. Next question, please. What have we got? How are you guys feeling about old healing gods, Afro, Helen, Ra? Let's start with you.
Sure.
Because you keep starting all the time, AJ. Let Fishman speak.
You're right.
Stealing all his role.
Well, we have a lot of healing gods, and different ones are in different places. We have some that statistically are doing quite well, even if not everybody's picked up on them yet. I don't want to out those in case teams are going to bring them out in the SPL. But in general, we're relatively happy with where they are. We don't want to make them too strong because we don't want the meta to get so sedentary that you can't make plays happen. So if people are constantly at full health, that becomes a problem. But in general, I think they're in a relatively good spot.
I would agree with that. Yeah, the key word for this is careful. This is very similar to the health tree for us. These are ones that are, if they're too strong, your fun level just immediately plummets. So we want to be very careful with these gods. So you've seen some adjustments to Hell and or Afro and Ra this year. We're always discussing Hell, but we want to be very careful with these healing gods because if they get too strong,
can't kill people.
It goes downhill
I was going to
fast.
say, Chuck, what do you think? Obviously, you're not on the balance team, but what's your opinion? You can have one. It's okay. You're allowed one. Don't worry.
He plays a lot, yeah.
Don't worry,
I mean,
give me a
about healing gods.
How do you feel about
Yeah.
healers in games?
I mean, you want to you feel like you have efficacy, but yeah, I agree that there have been times in the past where healing and tanking have been stronger, and it does definitely give you a case of the sad when the other team disengages from the fight, and then suddenly they're all healed.
That's
and
my favorite saying now. Case of the sad.
Case of the sad.
We do want them to be impactful, but we don't want them to be the dominating force.
Right.
Completely agree. Next question, please, production. What have we got on the screen next? I don't see any other questions.
Sorry, it's
are we
coming.
out of questions?
No, there's
we're not.
more.
There we go.
Any chance of more rats pretending to be another god skins? Also, gender bender skins.
How do you feel about these, Chuck?
You guys and your gender bender skin
We
requests.
just got a Ne Zha one, right?
Oh,
We just got one this patch.
no, that was more of
That's why I'm
a,
here, boys.
straightening. No. Well.
I mean, it's always a possibility.
Wait, am I still talking about gender bender
Yeah,
skins?
we are.
Or
Yeah.
rat pretending.
The thing about the gender bender skins is that it would require an entire new, it's all technical, skeleton, entire new animation set, entirely new things. So it seems like it's not a big deal to make that, but it actually really is a big deal to make that.
It's not a trivial
So
endeavor.
It's
possibility.
non-trivial. Yes.
Possibilities.
It's like
basically the answer
almost
there.
tier 5 level
Yes.
work.
But it would seem like we weren't doing that much for a ton of work. So
Okay.
that's why we haven't really dipped our foot into that pool.
What about costume gods?
It just worked so well for Ratatoskr. I mean, if it came up in another context, I think it would be pretty funny, but I guess it just hasn't.
So one thing we are trying to do that's kind of related to that is, in the Ratatoskr as Fafnir, you can clearly see that it's Ratatoskr under there. You know
Yeah.
exactly who it is, and we are trying to highlight that a little bit more as skins that you can see exactly who the god is, and they have kind of accoutrement on top of that. So that's something we're trying to,
So
to
an
get more
Arachne,
into.
Ratatoskr dresses Arachne. With, like extra spider legs. Come on.
That'd be kind
Sure,
of.
Hindu. Whenever
Sure.
you're ready to go make that,
Listen,
we will
listen,
put it
I
I
in.
mean,
pulled those ideas out
if we're
and
just
just
going to
like-
keep dressing Ratatoskr as other
guess
people,
so, yeah.
just
Why not? Just
Dress
do
him
rat
as Ne Zha.
over and over again. As Ne Zha? Yeah, that'd be quite fun. Next question, please. We're running out of time too. Are we going to see big changes in Season 4, AJ?
As
Of
many
course.
as we can do. We want to make a lot of changes. Got a lot of good ideas.
I really wanted to be sarcastic there and be like, nope.
No, we're pretty much done
No.
here.
Yeah.
You
Yep,
guys,
that's
who
it.
send these questions in, you've got to be more specific than that. Otherwise, they will all just say, yeah.
No, we got to
Season
keep
4,
this
we're
vague because we
changing
can't.
Smite to Paladins is, I think, the
Oh, yeah,
plan.
right.
So
We got to keep this vague because we can't talk about this too much. But we're gonna do some changes.
all the stuff that's too big for Season 3 gets put on the Season 4 list.
Mhm.
So that's pretty exciting.
So there's only big stuff for Season 4, as you're telling me.
Well, we'll see.
Oh, there'll be some small stuff too, but it'll all be nice. It'll be
excited.
good and new and fresh.
And that's not too far away now when you look at it. I mean,
No,
we're
it's
to the end
coming
of
up.
this year already.
Oh yeah, we're thinking about it every day.
World is on its way. Any further questions for us?
There should be at least one more.
Can
There,
we see a sneak preview of Camas? No.
Kamazats.
Are they,
I mean,
Well, I let the bat.
Chad
out of
has
the
been
bag.
asking for
the
it
bat.
They have
ever
been out
of
since.
the
Well,
bag.
he's not being released today. If anybody didn't get that
Yeah.
message,
he's not ready yet. I believe
Yeah.
you guys have told me before you want to finish a few more things off with him.
We're gonna take some more time on him. We want to make sure he's really awesome. Lots of community requests for him, but we will let you guys see a sneak peek of his model.
Since we already made the mistake.
And there you go.
So
Pond
here
already
is
made
what
the
he
mistake.
looks like. We're not going to show you anything else about him.
He's so pretty.
He has, as you can see, placeholder icons still.
Oh, yeah.
He's so
still-
pretty.
He's
I
got a
believe
lot of
his
things that
one
we're still
involves the number
finishing.
1.
Right.
Yes.
His 3
He's-
might
he's the
involve the number
count.
3.
So this is the god that I've been waiting for.
Yes.
All right, Chuck, throwing this out here, right? Ratatoskr outfit of Kamazot's.
That seems so. That is some crazy.
Just the
meta.
idea there, man. Flying squirrel, technically, right? That kind of works.
I mean, look
So it's
at
like
that guy.
cute
Come
Kamazot's,
on.
I guess. Yeah. Well, yeah, that was Chuck reference to his favorite piece of
Yeah,
Smite content
2
that is
patches ago, I think
mysteriously
he
coming
did.
up.
Pseudo
Yeah.
spoiling.
He did. He was like in a future patch.
So-
Well, that patch.
Yeah.
We've all been hyped about Kamazot's.
I actually got to help out concepting Kamazot's. I was like, there's not enough teeth and
Yeah.
teeth.
Well, there
Oh,
is
yeah.
now.
In
I can
here.
see
We
plenty
had an
of that as well.
interdepartmental memo this past week that was like, Chuck will decide the skull level of something. And I was like, oh, Chuck's the guy for that. That's
Yeah.
Gauging the
very
skull
much
meter. Yeah, we got to be
Chuck's
very.
genre.
We got to be very careful.
So,
So
you're in
Kamaz-
good hands.
Kamazot's will come out in 319.
Guaranteed?
Yes.
Cool. That's the main thing.
And
Guaranteed.
keep posted to our Twitter and things like that for little spoilers or reveals about him now.
As
But
per usual.
for now, you can just see what he looks like and know that he will be coming soon.
Only looks fantastic already. You guys at home, before I end the show here, when is PTS coming out? Do we have a date on that yet?
I think we'll probably do the weekend again.
Weekend
Pog.
again?
Yeah, I think it's Friday. That was the last I heard, so it's gonna be Friday.
Okay, so Friday is where the PTS will be. Obviously, leave us all the feedback as per usual. We're always interested to listen to your feedback, and changes do happen on the PTS if you've seen multiple times before if things don't go as planned. Final thoughts, boys, Fishman, anything to add? You good?
Good patch, easy game, easy life.
I completely agree. Chuck? Ao Kuang.
Ao Kuang.
Yep.
The rise of Cupid.
And AJ, the
The
rise.
rise.
He shall return. Get ready for your Busy Bee voice packs, everybody.
Oh no.
Well, that's
It's gonna
all
be
we've got
fun.
time for then.
play
Canvas
with
will be
Larson.
here before you know it.
Rising Flames 3.18 will be available next week, available on the PTS this weekend. Stay tuned for that. I hope you all enjoy the show. Make
Recall.
sure you give us all the feedback.
Recall
guys.
skin.
As
Can we
per
show
usual.
that?
The what?
The recall skin? I saw
Recall
that in
skin?
chat. We should do, that's coming out in this patch.
Is it?
Skin?
Do you know if it works?
Oh, yeah, it is.
No, I don't know if it
Do you know
works.
how to equip it yet?
I know how to equip it, but I
Come
have
on,
to
Pon,
go back
Pon,
to
crash the game again.
We can
Don't let us
tweet,
down again,
We can
Pon.
tweet a GIF of
do
that.
Yeah, we'll tweet a gif of it.
We'll
Go
tweet
up as
it.
a dragon and then recall
It is the
with
third-
the skin
it
to
is the
recall
third
on in
Chinese
slow
Odyssey.
motion. Yeah.
Right. It's the third Chinese Odyssey item as the Chinese recall effects.
Gotcha. Well, look out for
We
the
will send
tweets.
that out.
It'll probably be have something like hashtag blame Pompon in there as well, just to
It'll be there.
round out the show. Thanks very much for joining us all at Hydra Studios. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a regular patch as per usual. PTS at the weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good night.